The president will not confirm or deny. I just got here Thursday.
Okay.
I was in Rome, and I ate too much pasta there, and I swore off pasta. And then I went to Paris, and I ate too much cheese, and I swore off cheese. So I'm very excited to see what food group I refuse to eat after this trip. Thank you. I feel like we should celebrate and point out big, interesting wieners on statues in Rome. There is a variety of body celebration, and the more I can educate the world and go, hee hee, there's a wiener, the better, probably, for people appreciating art. That's a good question. I didn't know what I was getting into. I had heard very good things about MCM, and just looking out on the floor, it's way bigger than I thought it would be. I mean, I would say that it reminds me a lot of New York City Comic Con, which is quite large. And the good thing is that it seems to not be hot, because being hot in a room with thousands and thousands of people is the worst, as we can all testify. and it seems to have a lot of variety of things to buy, and like a lot of handicrafts and like unique things, which I always appreciate. Sometimes when you go to events in the States, they sort of have all the same things, and it seems to have a lot more variation. So I'm sad I can't walk the floor and get lots of stuff that I would then have to find suitcase room for, which I don't have because I bought $300 worth of chocolate in Paris. I'm giving it away, maybe, okay? It was supposed to be gifts, but I just don't know yet if it's going to end up making it back to the States. I think the explosion of it is enabled by the internet. I think the internet allows people, just like I talk a lot about in my book that's coming up in August. You're Never Weird on the Internet, almost. It's coming out in August here in the UK. But a lot of when I started writing down my personal journey, a lot of it was using the internet to express who I was without sort of feeling isolated or ashamed of it. And I think the internet allows people, wherever they are physically, to connect with people who are like them mentally and passion-wise, and that allows people to connect better and celebrate who they are more freely. And I think Comic-Cons and events like this are a perfect way to bring that online world where you feel accepted into the offline world where you can also feel accepted. So I'm very proud to have been, sort of old school, used to this world, and to see it grow and have more and more people enriched by it is fantastic. Yeah, I do think I see a lot more female representation in not only the media, but also just the fandom. And I think that's very encouraging, especially younger girls, a whole generation of girls who grew up on the internet and can express their fandom and connect. And Tumblr is an amazing platform that is very encouraging and also very female-centric. And you see the same enthusiasm about TV shows and video games there that you do in other areas like forums and things that are traditionally more male-oriented. And I think it's wonderful because there's a lot of especially in fandom, there's a lot of projection of self into the worlds, and even though it may have started more with guys with Star Trek and very older science fiction worlds, I think that women have always been involved in them, but maybe just not as vocally, because women are expected to be a certain kind of person. I'm sorry, there's a doll of me right there.
My bad.
Yeah, that's okay. I think there are a lot of cliches of women not liking these things, and that really kept women out of it, at least vocally. And the internet allows people to feel a little bit more free in being themselves, so they feel more support to show the world that they're interested in a video game or a show. And I think it's very awesome because, to me, nerd culture is genderless, it's backgroundless, it's ageless. Really, you're connecting over something you love, and whatever that person looked like or their background, if you both love Doctor Who, you can have an amazing conversation. And it overcomes a lot of societal boundaries that might not even be real for us. They're just sort of told to us that they are barriers, and geek culture allows us to overcome those, I think. I'm not a huge superhero comics fan because I never really identified very strongly with a lot of characters there, like Wonder Woman. I thought was really fun, and Mary Jane, I was always in love with her because she was a redhead in that world. But as far as like the really empowered characters, the ones with these powers and who were changing the world and saving, and really who had the emotional journeys, you don't find as many characters. Especially in past years. Like now you can look to Ms. Marvel, and there's like so many characters, especially from indie comics, that sort of vibe passing, crossing over into mainstream comics, which I think is great. So I think that in the comic world and the gaming world, you could see a lot more examples of stronger female, I hate to use the word strong, but just prominent female characters where you actually understand their emotional journey versus being an appendage to the main male character's journey. And I think television has a lot more cliches and limits to what people think of women characters as. So especially, shows like Gotham and Flash and Daredevil, like those are amazing shows with very complicated lead characters, but you don't necessarily look and say, hey, I want to be a Karen or I want to be an Iris. Like, you don't have as strong women characters there with their own independent emotional journeys who could possibly carry the show themselves. And that's how I like to measure every character, whether it's a strong character or not, female, any background. Would they be able to, on their own, carry the show? And you don't really have that, especially with female characters who are supposed to be love interests. So hopefully, I think awareness and people pointing it out it's possible to affect change and really encourage writers, male or female, to sort of broaden their idea of what a romantic female character, super or not, it could be. I think we all need to overcome the cliches of what we're told women characters are, and I think that, rather than looking to actors to make that change. The most powerful actors can influence the kind of roles they get done, but it's only about 20 people or something who really can make movies happen. Really, it's about encouraging and educating people of diversity to be behind the camera more, writing more, being executives more, and directors. Really, those are the people who make the stories that are presented. And if, even though there are a lot of barriers to women getting into those paths, the great thing is that we have the internet and we have places that you can show people and prove concepts that might not be mainstream likable or approvable, but can actually find an audience. The Guild was something that I made for 6 years, completely outside the system, and I know that it never would have gotten made regularly. There's an amazing web series called High Maintenance, and one of the directors is a woman. So I think there are tools that we have at our fingertips if you have something to say. You just have to have a role model to show you this is something that could be cool to be versus just being an actor. It's very divergent, I get recognized a lot, just randomly on the street, sometimes, and it will be from usually the Guild or Supernatural. There's a lot of gamers there's not a lot of entertainment that gamers instantly associate with a person, so I think the Guild is quite popular. And then lately, since I've been on the show a lot more, Supernatural, I've been recognized quite a bit. It's very fun to play a character that's resonated, isn't a regular character, but it resonated a lot with fans, and that's what I loved about being in genre shows, is that it means something more to fans than just kind of watching and filling an hour of their week. No, she's an amazing role model for people, and if you read about her journey, she did not have an easy time writing that. She was definitely struggled a lot, and especially I think she's talked about depression before and writer's block and all these things, and everybody looks at the end results of things and thinks, hey, I want to do that, but you have to really sign up for the process and all the hard things to get through it, and that's why I admire her being open with that. And I talk about that in my book some, about how hard it was for me to just get up and do things, and thank goodness I did, because I have a lot of people staring at me right now because of it. I think that whenever you challenge someone's paradigm about what the truth of something is, then you're going to have people who are inflexible and not able to change their perception and feel that any judgment or trying to change a world or a fandom is a reflection on judging them as people. The thing about geeks in the geek culture is that we really all feel very passionately about what we love, and we feel ownership over it, especially gaming. We, by definition, project ourselves into our gaming world as ourselves. We are, we're not just watching a character go through a movie. We are in that world, performing the actions in a weird psychological way. So, I think you see a lot of resistance, especially in that world, to people saying this is not, I want to belong in this world, and I don't feel like I fit in, and I need things to maybe change to accommodate diversity of viewpoints. I would not say that anything that's happened has been good for the image of gaming, to be honest with you, but I think you can always look at everything as a positive, and the fact that you have a very small minority of people who happen to be very loud and think they have access to people because the way the social media is, you have 10 times as many people pushing back against that, and really that probably foments a lot more change because people are feeling more supported by the majority, and can be encouraged to be a gamer without being shamed about it. So I think it's the kind of struggle that you see when you're trying to change people's viewpoints, and hopefully there's enough people to band together to say yes, we can be inclusive rather than exclusive, because if you look at the numbers, it's vastly the negative is vastly outbalanced by the positive, I believe. I just thought about the show and how fantastic the family is, and to me, I get offered a lot of shows in Hall. I turn down quite a bit of work because I'm very busy producing my own stuff. I love being behind the camera as far as in front, and it's very important to me to belong to a show that has that kind of fandom. I would rather be on a show that has a family like that than anything. It doesn't matter. The work is fun, and the job is fun, but if it doesn't have that element of adding to people's lives, then it's not as interesting to me to do it. So, Supernatural had a great fandom, and over the 4 years I've been on the show, the fandom has grown exponentially, and I think that's just helped by social media and Tumblr and Twitter and all these other, and the fans, Jared and Jensen, really love their fans, and the schedules they work are insane, and the fact that they do conventions all the time and they go out of their way to greet fans, and they've really set a family tone on set and off that inspires me and makes me feel like a continuation of the world that I started, which was in Buffy, which had the same sort of we're all in it together sort of spirit. So I'm very thankful to the fans for liking my character and being on the journey with me until the end. It's pretty cool. I was in for Forbidden Planet, I think, yesterday, and I was just walking around because I really love that store, and I had my glasses on. I'm just kind of walking. My hair was completely uncombed, sorry. And I looked around, and a guy was just kind of like... he was standing there with a Dean, a Sam, and a Charlie just holding it. Like he was just shopping. He's like, oh my God. Which is pretty cool. So I had a very large glass unicorn collection, which is kind of like a glass menagerie, which I didn't know about until the end. So I was kind of like the geeky glass menagerie. Maybe not as dark, because that was a sad play. But I love fairy tales. I had pictures of, I would print out Maxfield Parrish oils and just put them all over my room. And, there are certain things that I talk about this actually in my book a lot, about growing up just kind of a strange little girl, but drawn to worlds that were not my own, and I think that's, that kind of escapist attitude, it definitely influences me. I'd rather be in a fake world than a real world a lot. in my spare time, I pay my bills and everything, don't worry. Certainly, it's my intention to write another vehicle for myself, like the Guild, and that's what I've been working on the last couple months, ever since my book draft was done. So hopefully, before the end of the year, I can talk about more of that, and it's important to me just to create something that's true to my heart, as the Guild was, which is kind of hard because it was so close to my heart. Well, my book is called You're Never Weird on the Internet, almost, and it's my journey of how I grew up a weird child and was homeschooled and went to college at, 16, and and grew up and discovered, internet video because I had something to say and I didn't have another place to say it. So I'm excited. It's coming out in the UK. I actually have a publisher here, so hopefully I'll be back to talk about that more in August when it comes out. I actually took a year off last year to write it, so it was kind of hard. Talking about yourself for a year is like, that's a lot of me. But I think that given all the reviews and the blurbs and things that are coming in, I wanted to write it so that people could take something away from it and either create or connect with other people, just like I did, that led me to here, which is an awesome. Wait, I want to take a little Snapchat of this because this is weird. It's so much people staring at me, so you guys can be the
That's a very creepy cover.
Oh, yeah. It's a really creepy cover, huh? Hi, press. These are press people. Hi. Okay.